If there's one thing we've learned about business and life, it's that people are the X factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Sia, and welcome to the Gnaw on This Business Bites podcast. This show is all about real life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bites. I'm Ben, this is Sia, and this week I want to talk to you about you can't get alignment through assumptions. You know, we assume way too much. We really do. As organizations, we assume that, we've come up with this brilliant idea. We've sat in these little rooms with 10 or 12 or 15 of us, and we've come up with this plan, and it's taken us days, weeks, months to come up with it. And we assume that as soon as we open the door and let in a little bit of light and let everybody else in the office in on what we've decided, that everybody immediately is going to buy into this. And everybody's going to think that what we thought was a good idea was a good idea. And that everybody thinks that they're going to actually be able to achieve what we assume that they're going to be able to achieve. We're not going to get alignment through closed doors. We need to let the light in early. The more people we can sit there and say, hey, listen, we're thinking about this. What do you think? What are your viewpoints on this? What are we missing? And that's the big thing. We all have a bias. It's been proven time and time again in advertising, in boardrooms, in marketing. It's been proven time and time again that we all have biases. And until we can sit there and say, yes, I don't know everything. I can't think of everything. I'm not everywhere. I don't know every little minutia detail that goes on in my own company and how everything works and what the current, flow is. We're not going to be able to come up with things on our own in a vacuum that's going to build alignment based on our own assumptions. Sia, let's gnaw on this.
Oh boy, look, alignment, what an elusive word, because I don't know about you, but if you know anything about cars, like getting your cars, the wheels all aligned, like
Hopefully,
when it's running and when it's aligned, it's like so smooth, like it's butter, know, but the second you can tell the tires are out of alignment for whatever reason, it is not butter. It's like a rock and roll ride. And you're like, wow, okay, I guess we're in a portable milkshake machine, you're kind of bouncing up and down, I think that's the funniest thing about alignment though, is because no matter how much you might communicate with someone, if you're not clear, if it's not clear to someone, if it's not explained concisely, that's easily understood, you're not going to get alignment like you think you will. I can't tell you how many times I've said this in so many other episodes. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? And it's the truth. What you think you're communicating most oftentimes is a game of telephone. And so what you're hoping, and again, there's that book, hope is not a strategy, but we do this naturally, that we hope that everyone is on the same page, company mission and purpose. And every year we always start off with that, right? Here's a reinstatement of our company mission and goals. This is our values. It's like, everyone goes through the HR training session once and then we forget about it for the rest of the year. Is that true?
Or the rest of our lives. And
is that true alignment? Are we really on the same page? Think about all the wonderful divorces that have been out there. Yeah, I think there was alignment. I'm just saying.
Well, what's George Bernard Shaw quote? And it's on my website, and I'll paraphrase it. It says the biggest challenge with communication is the misunderstanding that it actually exists, and I'm butchering it. It's just the fact. We all think we're great communicators. We all think just because I've said something, everybody understands it, everybody agrees with it, Everybody is on board with it. Everybody knows exactly what needs to happen next. And they're all jumping at the bit, to be able to get involved, to be part of it. None of that is true. None of that is true. Just because you've told somebody something doesn't mean, first of all, that they heard you. I look at, and we've used this analogy before, and I'll bring it back to alignment. Is the side of the road is the billboard, this 35 or 40 foot foot wide billboard, and you drive past it 20, 30, 50 times, and you never see it.
Yep.
You never see it because you're looking the other way. You're changing the radio. You're focused on the traffic in front of you. You've got sun in your eyes. There's a million different things that keep you from actually looking at it, but it takes you a while. And eventually, and the reason this is why they're there is because people drive past it time again and time again and time again and time again, that all of a sudden they go, okay, now I get it. And we need to sit there and think about that in our own businesses. You tell somebody that something is a 911 priority. However, they've got 3 other people telling them that 3 other different things are 911 priorities. There's no alignment there. There's absolutely no alignment because, what truly is the 911 priority? Which is the one that actually does need to get done first? What is the one that truly needs to happen by the end of the day? If you got 4 different people screaming in your ear that 4 different things are all a priority to be done by the end of the day, and you sit there and wonder why people throw up their hands and roll their eyes and quiet quit and leave companies and whatever, because there isn't a sense of alignment. There isn't sit there and say, look, these are the things that are important to the company. These are the things that are, dovetail immediately with our mission, vision, and purpose. We need to take care of this because a customer is going to be left in the lurch if this doesn't happen today. Our customers are our number one priority. Then could you please take care of this? Absolutely. We say time and time again, and we believe and we act time and time again that our customers are number one priority. Yep, this goes to the side, this picks up, we're in alignment, off I go. But if I've been told that 4 different things are equally important and they all require my undivided attention all at once, you're going to pick the one that you want to do.
Yeah.
And that doesn't cause any alignment within the organization.
Man, you just reminded me, like, as my business has grown, I hate it when we talk because I can just immediately apply it, like, to what I want to get done talking now so I can run back to the team and be like, hey guys, because right there, the whole alignment conversation, it's a growing business, and there are requirements that's going to be needed in addition to, I think, what all of us are used to, right? But how do we prioritize? And you just made me take an action item in my head, which is sit down with the team and re-look at what our top priorities are for each group, what the responsibility is, and, what is number 1 priority for me might be number 4 priority for another team, and for another person it's number 2, right? And understand that that's what, if their number 1 priority is not your number 1 priority, if we understand where everyone's number 1 priorities fits into the greater machine, I think there's also alignment in that way, right? To know that whatever it is that you need specifically may not be number 1, but you also know in the grander scheme of life in the company, it's all going to be good for everybody. You know what I mean? So it's almost like realignment of realignments and of new alignments. Well, that's what I'm kind of vibing with.
And it's also assuming that how I assume you want something is what you actually need. I mean, here's a perfect example. I write a report in such and such software. It's 25 columns wide and 10,000 columns deep. And it's all this information, and I'm using whatever software package I use because that's the one that I use and I'm comfortable with. The problem is you're using a completely different software package in your part of the business.
Yeah.
And your piece of software doesn't talk to my piece of software.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're having to have two monitors open, one with my data up on it, one with your data. Cut, paste, cut, paste, cut, paste, cut, paste. How frustrating is that?
Pain.
And if I don't know that I'm causing you that kind of grief, if I don't know that if I'm assuming that I'm giving you because you said you needed this data. So I'm giving you this data, but I'm not giving it to you in a way that you can use it because I'm assuming everything's okay. But if you don't tell me that, hey, wait a second here, if your software package doesn't speak well to my software package, is there something we can do in order to build a Zapier or some type of connection to be able to port that information over simply? It makes life so much simpler, but we don't talk to each other. We just assume, well, they needed the data, so there's the data because that was the easiest way for me to give them the data.
You're kind of giving me flashback a little bit because it just reminds me of like when I hear that, all I think is like how many times a CRM that is supposed to get rolled out for salespeople theoretically is great for all the finance people, but not for us salespeople. Like you said, you end up having to copy and paste back and forth everywhere because that's what's going to work for each platform. Oh my God, we can keep talking about this, but I love this idea. I'm enjoying this conversation, but I do know we're probably going to keep lingering if we keep going because I can keep going.
All right, one more thing, and we'll let this go.
Okay,
is that we need to sit there and have those meetings without pointing fingers and sit there and say, okay, let's talk about the process and the procedure, not the people. Because as soon as you make this personal, everybody's back gets up. And then all of a sudden, arguments that don't need to happen.
Yeah.
And animosity and mistrust and disengagement are the factors that come part of this. The more we can sit there and say, hey, listen, we're having a problem where all of a sudden we're getting all this data and we can't use it in the way that it is, or it's really inefficient and it's killing my budget because of this. Is there a more effective way that we could do this? Because I'm spending $1.5 million in data entry that I really shouldn't have to.
Right.
And when you put it in those terms, maybe it's time for the CFO to invest in a new piece of software that works for everybody and aligns the teams. So we need to openly communicate, and we basically say it there, I need this because, and it's not because I want this, it's because it's ineffective for the way the information flows throughout the company, or the process doesn't work and leads to worse Q&A, or whatever it is. It's not only saying how it affects you, but how it affects the entire process. So we need to look at things that way.
Ditto.
I love your ads. The ads always are. So let's leave it there. The ditto is a great place to leave things. I'm Ben.
And I'm Sia.
And we'll see you soon. Ditto.
Hey. Thanks for listening to another episode of Gnaw on This, Business Bites. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at yourbrandmarketing.com or me at brilliantbeammedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. So see you next week for another episode of Gnaw on This, Business Bites.